What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on, NFL world? How you doing, Division Rivals? This is Steven Hyder with Gate City Sports Channel, the sports channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. All right, y'all. Today's topic. We're going to talk about Jalen Hurts versus the Dallas Cowboys. It was his third start of his career, and this is the game that, if you want to hate on Jalen Hurts, if you have doubts, strong doubts about Jalen Hurts, this is the game that probably made you feel that way. I've struggled making this video, guys, just because I realize that this is an easy video to go negative on. And this is what I want to say, guys. I read a lot. You guys, as a matter of fact, let me use right on my nightstand right here is Gary Vaynerchuk's, jab, 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 right hook. There's a young man, I've read his books before. His name's Kayvon Asamani. Kayvon Asamani wrote the books Grit and Option B. Apparently, he's actually a rapper, and he's, a social influencer. He's got a clothing line, all that. I didn't know all this about him. I just know him as an author. And in today's conversation, there's something he said that I think speaks true here, guys. He says, you have to work on your game and not be constrained by everybody else's expectations. And that's what today's going to be about, guys. Defining what Jalen Hurts is likely working on in the offseason by using this game. And then just realizing you can't constrain a guy by somebody else's expectations. All right, y'all, without further ado, let's flip it over. Let's run the film, and let's talk about Jalen Hurts versus the Dallas Cowboys. Let's get it.
Second down and 9. Pump fake from Hurts. Moving to his right. And then
All right, so the first throwaway of the Dallas game comes in the second quarter. It's a 2nd and 9 around the 9:38 mark, if you're following along on Game Pass, guys. So Dallas comes out, and they're in what looks like to me to be like a cover 4 or quarters coverage, guys. And then you can see that they have some underneath defenders here. They got like 4 underneath defenders, a nickel back, and, some linebackers basically defending the underneath portion of the field as well. The Eagles come out, looks like 11-man personnel to me. It looks like a half-field read. I'm going to be honest here, guys, just judging from the way the ball played out here. This looks like a simplification of a half-field read here. Now, what I will say is the first thing to kind of watch here, guys, is that, I'll be honest with you, there's some pressure that gets right into basically Jalen Hurts' face. And look, should he have moved right away and got knocked off his spot? Probably not, but Nate Herbert's got to be better than this too, and not allow this initial kind of rush to get right there. What I will say is if you watch some of the way the game kind of works its way out here and like what Hurts is doing, they start off by motioning Greg Ward Jr., right? So they're checking for zone versus man coverage. They give you kind of like a little half-hearted kind of shuffle step by Van Der Esch that maybe confused Hurts into thinking this was a man coverage, but he should have been able to look across at a cover 4 and know that this was zone, that they were zoning him. What I will say is this, guys. Two things come open in this progression here. The first one is that had the timing been right, or had he stepped up in the pocket, he can probably make an early determination on the throw here to Greg Ward Jr. where it's open, but that's not where Greg Ward Jr. is supposed to be. This looks like a corner route to me. For Greg Ward Jr., and it just never really worked its way out for the timing of that pass to work. But the other thing is if this isn't a half-field read, you do have Miles Sanders slipping out of the backfield wide open. And that just doesn't go noticed. I mean, he's wide open, slipping out on that backfield. That's one of the things where you just have to kind of watch your linebackers and see that your linebackers are not in position to guard that guy releasing. This is something that the coaching staff, too, is responsible for because they should have saw this on the film during the game and made an in-game adjustment to come back to that type of route concept because clearly Dallas was susceptible to being taken on that. So it is what it is, guys. I mean, yes, he missed a couple of things here. He probably fled from the pocket sooner than he should have here. Things still aren't ideal. I mean, you can look over here at Deshaun Jackson's route, and I mean, what is going on here? It's not a very good run route, and that looks like where Jalen Hurts is looking for the outlet here to kind of just get the ball away. And then if you look on the outside route, I think that's Fulgham on the outside there. It's very half-hearted. Now that might be by design. They might be just trying to work that Greg Ward Jr. kind of corner concept in there, but I'm not. This is just bad coaching, guys. This is bad coaching. It's bad play, and it leads to stuff like this. All right, ladies and gents, the second throwaway of the Dallas game comes in the second quarter. It's 2 plays later. It's a 3rd and 14 after Matt Pryor lands us a 5-yard penalty, basically knocking us out of field goal range for a false start. We're sitting at the 9:31 second mark here. What I will say is this, guys. Always be aware of the circumstance here. Like, we're trying to get back into field goal range. Now we're in a 3rd and long. You got to keep in mind the circumstances of the plays. And I will say is Dallas comes out this time in a Tampa 2. Okay? You got a cover 2 with 2 deep safeties, and you got that Mike, middle linebacker, dropping back deep down the hash marks, guys. So this is a traditional classic Tampa 2, what we used to see in the late 90s, early 2000s. I do have some concerns if Jalen understood the coverage here. I mean, obviously, going back and watching the film he did, I'm wondering in game if he saw what was happening here. I will say that this is either Goddard or Ertz kind of slips out late on this play and does come open. And Jalen Hurts kind of misses that. Would that get you the first down? Maybe, maybe not, but it probably would have given you enough yardage to set yourself up for a field goal attempt, to be honest. So situational kind of football here and knowing where you are. I will say it feels a little bit like Superman ball, hero ball here, because there's really no need to run this ball. It's a 3-man pass rush. Nothing's really threatening them. You got Jalen Reagor on the opposite side that looks like he's kind of pulling even with the cornerback. It's a 3rd and 14. If you miss this, then you're punting the ball. I get maybe not making that throw, but you could have. I mean, you pulled even. You could have given him a shot there. I will say this is that the other side to this is that nothing else is open. Now, I think that's why, it looks like once again you got Jalen Hurts really to one half of the field kind of playing it, and really nothing comes open on that half of the field. Dallas is in the perfect coverage to take away that skinny post from the tight end. And there's just no distance, no separation, nowhere for Jalen Hurts to place the ball on the side of the field he's reading. Yes, I mean, definitely he could have gotten to Dallas Goedert or whoever that is that's slipping out. Certainly. That's the only place I could see where the ball could have been objectively placed here for a positive outcome. But outside of that, guys, I mean, it's a little case of playing a little bit of the hero ball here, and then also maybe bypassing a check down in order to try to make something happen with your legs. Like, just get the check down, give your guy an opportunity to get you in field goal range, and, make something of it. Maybe he breaks a tackle and he gets a first down. You never know. But it is what it is, guys.
Eagles bust get to the 35. Hurts under pressure. Throws it.
All right, ladies and gents, the third kind of throwaway comes in the third quarter on a 3rd and 3. It's about 11:29 mark, so just coming out of half, really. Dallas comes out in a cover 1 man concept, and if you really pay attention to what's going on here, they're coming hot with 6, and Jalen Hurts sees it in the box. Now, I will credit the Eagles' offensive line. The Eagles' offensive line does a good job of picking this up, to be quite honest. This is one of those ones that I think Jalen Hurts would want back. This is one of those plays that if you were to sit down with Jalen Hurts, he would be like, I want this play back because I know I made a mistake here, and I know that I could have definitely picked up the first down on a 3rd and 3, which is really the first situation outside of the first play was a 2nd and 9. The second throwaway was a 3rd and 14. This is the first time where you have an easy conversion down that he's missing. What does he miss, guys? He misses Alshon Jeffrey on the drag route. This is obviously wide open. He misses it. A little too much, focus here on the blitz. He got a little too, focused on okay, they're bringing pressure. Okay, I either need to get this out quick or I need to get out of the pocket and get rid of it. You just got to know, like, hey, man, if they're bringing those linebackers, then you have to know where the vacated zone is, and you got to throw the ball to the vacated zone. This is something that comes with time and experience, guys. It's easy to beat Jalen Hurts up over this type of stuff, guys, but you're talking about a guy with only 2 games of starting experience and a handful of snaps in this situation. Like time, on the field, time in practice, time in the film room. Guys get better at these type of things. Like, yes, I'm not going to deny it. It's on the film. It's here. I'm just saying that a lot of guys struggle early on in their career with this, and then they get much better at this type of thing later on. That's why a lot of defensive coordinators will bring pressure against young quarterbacks, I should say. When the quarterback is a young man, they will bring pressure because they know that guy's not reading the field as well as he will be in year 3 or 4. So,
But they got to stay on it. On first down, Hurts moving to his right. Under pressure. Fires downfield out of bounds.
All right, ladies and gents, the 4th throwaway of the game comes in the 3rd quarter. It's a 1st and 10 at the 3:28 mark. So there's a ton of pre-snap disguise here from Dallas. What they do is they give Jalen Hurts a cover 4 or a cover 2 kind of look here, and then they slowly walk that safety down into a cover 3. So a lot of pre-snap disguise here, trying to really get the pass rush home by that pre-snap disguise, right? What happens pre-snap. What I will say here is that the biggest takeaway you're going to have here is that Jalen Hurts did miss his check down to Miles Sanders. It was there. It was open. It's a 1st and 10. You check the ball down there. But it's not all Jalen Hurts here, guys. Jordan Mailata, I'm going to have to watch more of Jordan Mailata's film because I am seeing some technique issues here, and he is getting beat in these games I've been breaking down over the last 4 games of the season. Jordan Mailata does an okay job with the initial block and holding his block, but then he kind of, he gets taken a little bit to the inside, and that flushes Hurts out. And what's sad about that, series of events here is that if Mailata could have just held his block for a split second longer, you do have the Zach Ertz kind of route starting to come open. There may have been an opportunity for Jalen Hurts to fit the ball in there and get a pretty big gain. But once again, line doesn't quite hold up to the length of time it took to get the play down there, which is a positive we can take away here, guys, is that one of the things we all know is a lot of hoopla has been made about us returning to a more traditional form of the West Coast offense. So a little bit more lateral route concepts, which means faster progressions for the quarterback, faster time to throws. You won't have to hold the ball as much if he executes the play. So positives, negatives here, guys, no doubt about it. You missed the check down. Offensive line play's got to get better, but I do expect their offensive line play to be a lot better going into the 2021 season. So you could take that away from this.
Last week, this is it. You got it. The OT coming up.
All right, the 5th and final throwaway of the Dallas game, guys, leaves a ton to break down here. So to begin with, it's a 2-by-2 set by the Philadelphia Eagles. So to come out in 12-man personnel, you got 2 receivers to the top side of your screen. You got 2 receivers to the bottom side of your screen. Dallas looks like to me that they're playing either cover 2 or cover 4. You can argue either coverage, honestly. The Eagles' offensive line, guys, it's definitely a challenge here to break down because at left tackle we have Matt Pryor. At right tackle we got Brett Toth. Obviously, this is not the way the Eagles drew this up in training camp. These are not the guys they were envisioning playing those type of roles. So a lot to really break down here. The biggest problem is we have a 3-man rush with 49 seconds left in the game on a 2nd and 2, and Brett Toth is literally being thrown back into Jalen Hurts' lap, which is, I'm sorry, but that's a really tough ask of your quarterback. I mean, there's only so much you can do when a guy's basically getting bench pressed into you. There's just not a whole lot as a quarterback you can do here. It's affecting what Jalen Hurts can do with the football. It's affecting the timing and rhythm of the play. Look, it's a problem, man. Like any game like this gets complex because it's never just the quarterback. There's always something else going on with this many throwaways in a single game. I mean, on a normal, consistent basis, the quarterback's not going to throw the ball away 5 times without some extenuating circumstances going on here. And we've seen in this game alone, we've had really horrible and horrid offensive line play. We've had other examples where we just had really weird concept designs to where 2 out of your 3 routes on a half-field read don't look like they're engaged in the game, and then the other one's taking a long time to kind of develop. And then, you had, a little earlier in the game where I talked about you had Jalen Hurts who clearly missed a read. He clearly, misunderstood where the ball was supposed to go and when it was supposed to be out of his hands. There's a lot to break down here, guys. Like I said, I mean, it's hard to fault a kid when your right tackle is basically being thrown into your lap. It's a difficult ask, guys. It's a lot to take away from this. All right, y'all, let me get into some final thoughts about this game in particular.
Until last week, this is it. You got it. The OT coming up.
The title of this video kind of started out, guys, talking about whether or not, Jalen Hurts is QB number 1, if that's what he's going to be for the Eagles for the long term. I feel pretty confident saying that it's very likely he's QB1 to start the season, but can he hold the throne, if you will? And that's a difficult conversation to have based upon 4 games, guys. There's just no way of definitively making statements, and then I can tell you where the young man needs to improve, right? But here's the thing. Did Jalen Hurts elevate the play? Did he cover up some of the deficiencies of the offense so far from these 3 games I've watched? Yes, to an extent he has, right? Like, really unstable offensive line play, sometimes even really poor scheme and design and route concepts. Like, he's gotten Eagles out of negative yardage situations by scrambling, getting outside of the pocket, using his athleticism, and ditching the ball off. But my fear is by breaking down this film, I also see instances on his film to where it's hindering him because the expectation is almost he's fighting for his life on every single snap. So there are times now to where his first instinct is to immediately, the minute he senses pressure, to get out of there and throw the ball away, right? And let's all not forget from whence we came. Pun intended, Wentz. Wentz had a hard time towards the end of his tenure here in Philadelphia with sensing pressure. That was really the biggest thing about Wentz, was ball security and sensing pressure. It was like the switch got turned off with Wentz and he just forgot how to sense and tell when the pocket was collapsing upon him. So it's a complex issue here, guys, that doesn't have definitive answers. This is what I'll say, though. The offensive line's coming back, hopefully healthy, hopefully with more talent upon it. David Goggins, since we started those off with a quote, I'll just read a David Goggins quote because I think it fits and I think it makes sense, right? He says, if you can't make it on an even playing field, you're not working your butt off. And of course, he doesn't use the word butt here, right? So what he's talking about is that no, not all men are created equal, but through effort and through pure, will, you can even a playing field, even if somebody is physically more gifted than you. And if you're not, then you're not outworking them. That's what it's going to come down to, in my opinion, when it comes to Jalen Hurts. Yes, you could be negative about this. I have nowhere to defend it. If we're only using this game, then yeah, there's nowhere to defend this. But let's be honest, guys, there were 4 games, and if I only took this game, it would be easy to take it out of context. That would be my argument here, is that yes, I'm not denying it. It's here. I broke down the film. I showed you it. But you got to understand the mitigating circumstances, and you have to weigh in the mitigating circumstances. That's why I'm telling you straightforward, I don't know what this young man can or can't be because too many circumstances to really get an accurate read. That's how I break it down. All right, guys. Don't forget, if you want to support the channel, you can buy me a cup of coffee. Links in the description below. Don't forget to like and comment on the video so it spikes the algorithm and gets this in front of other people. And last but not least, I would love to add you to the community. This is a community where we talk a lot about film. We talk a lot about the, crazy inner workings of a football game, and we talk a lot about advanced analytics. But in order to add you to the community, you got to hit the subscribe button, guys. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all tuning in, and I will catch you guys on the next video.